We're joined from Canton by the Cooking Diva herself, Madison Central alum, owner, operator, founder, head chef, head everything over there at the Cooking Diva on Depot Drive in Canton, Mississippi. We thank you so much for joining us. April Calhoun, I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. This is for our college career readiness class. We're in the business administration career cluster, which entrepreneurship is a big part of that. And we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Madison Central, Rosa Scott, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for us today.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Now, before we get into what all it is you do in entrepreneurship and your great restaurant over there in Canton, just take us, Madison Central class of 1999, athlete, great. You played in the Coliseum in basketball, great student, won multiple academic awards. So just tell us about your high school experience and your transition after that.
So, of course, I did go to Jackson Public Schools. I had a great experience in Jackson Public Schools. My teachers were great. I went to McLeod. I went to Northwest Jackson, and then I transferred to Rosa Scott. And I didn't like it at first, but then I found played basketball throughout high school. Out of the 40 people that were in the 7th grade class, 40 girls that were in the 7th grade class, I was the only one that finished due to transfers, injuries, just phasing out or whatever. I was the only one that finished. So I pat myself on the back because I know I can finish something. So love Madison Central, one of the best things ever. And so when it was time for my kids to go to Madison Central, of course, we were living in the Germantown district, and I was like, nah, they got to be Jags. So we moved from the Maverick zone to the Jag zone. But after graduation, well, before graduation, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with myself. I want to be a chef. I knew then I wanted to cook, but it wasn't a popular thing to pursue trades back then. People were like, oh, you should go to college. You should go to college. And so I was like, all right, I'll go to college. And what should I do? Well, the only thing I really knew to do was teach or be an engineer, because my uncle had opened up this engineering firm. So I was like, well, I can go do that. So I applied to Mississippi State. I was going to be an engineer because they had a good engineering program, right? So I was going to go there. But then I was like, man, I kind of like Southern Miss, I kind of like that. And I was like, I can be a teacher or whatever. So I did the teaching program for like 3 years. 3 years. Then I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So I joined Delta Sigma Theta. That's one of the best things I've ever done, which that kind of led me into my story of cooking. So joined Delta Sigma Theta, new chapter in college. And then from there, I changed my major to economics. Finished economics, couldn't find a job. And so then I went down this long rigmarole of trying to find something that fits me. I have done so many little odd jobs that didn't fit me. I was just trying to find my footing. So, when you start finding your footing, you realize that, hey, I'm not really a desk person. I need a little freedom. So I was like, well, let me find something that fits me. So I was like, I'm gonna do hair because I need the flexibility because I'm married, and my husband, he works on a boat. So he also has like a trade job. He's a great person to talk to too, because he drives towboats on the Mississippi River. And people
Oh,
don't
wow.
think, people don't think about their job a lot. So he started as a deckhand, and he worked his way up, and now he drives a 6,000 horsepower boat on the Mississippi River, pushing commodities, pushing oil, pushing all those types of things. So he's gone 28 days at a time. And so I needed some of the flexibility, so I went to do hair. Well, while I was doing hair, people were like, hey, well, I joined the Madison County chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. That's the first thing. I joined that, and they needed somebody to bring refreshments, right? And I was like, oh, I'll do it. And I made this pasta, and this pasta I also made for my sister's baby shower. I knew it was a hit. After that, people were like, hey, can you cook this? Can you cook this? Whole time I'm still doing hair. And so there's a couple of my clients. It was like, you cook? I was like, yeah. It's like, can you do this? Can you do this? Next thing you know, I'm not doing hair. I'm cooking. And I'm cooking at my house. And I'm like, wait, I'm gonna run my house down. I was like, so let me figure out a place where I can do. So I was looking looking at these expensive places, and they wanted like $5,000 a month for rent for a restaurant, which is scary because you don't know what you're going to make. Like owning a restaurant is scary, and you don't know how people will perceive your food, and especially if you've never run a business. So I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Found this little place in Canton, and we opened up pre-COVID, and I didn't have the labor in place, and I was kind of working myself to death. COVID was really a blessing, because it gave me a chance to stop, regroup, figure out what I like, and cut my hours down, minimize my menu, and just do the bare minimum. COVID was one of those things you have to stop and really think what's important. And getting to my kids and taking them everywhere they need to go, make sure they make it to gymnastics on time instead of being in a restaurant till 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I cut my hours down to 2, from 11 to 2. And what cutting my hours down did, it created this buzz where I gotta get in there because she'll run out. And so at 11 o'clock, people come in, and during that first hour, we may do 80 plates in the first hour. And that, yeah, oh yes, yeah, we maybe do 80 plates the first hour.
Wow.
And because people don't want to miss what I got, because I'm only gonna cook so much, because I don't like to have waste. That's a big thing in a restaurant. You want to eliminate waste. So I'm only gonna cook so much. And if they want it, they know to get here early. And they know if they get here at 1 o'clock, they're like, man, I missed it. So we have people that order online, and they'll say, I'm not picking up till 1:30, so they can go ahead and get in that count. So I don't know. It's just been one of those things where God's gonna make you do what he wants you to do. And that's my biggest thing. I kind of danced around what I wanted to do, until God made me do by, whatever situation, he made me do what he wanted me to do. And now, like, I feel like blessings just overflow because I really give to the church. I honor my church. I cook a lot for my church. That's that to me, that's my ministry. That's how I tell people I love them. You know what I'm saying? Like I always I'm always doing something for somebody, but my food is my ministry, so that's who I am. I try to bless others.
That's awesome. Now, I'm glad you mentioned about learning, because you said you want to be a chef and it wasn't popular. At Ridgeland High School, they actually have a culinary academy on campus. So I would encourage all of our Titan students, that they're interested in that, to really take up on that, because they do a great job over there, and it's something that can lead to a great career, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur. Now, one thing about entrepreneurship, even if somebody doesn't want to, I hear 1,000 people say, well, they can cook, they need to open a restaurant. Running a restaurant and being a cook are two completely different things, because you can be a great cook but be a terrible business person. Because I hear kids all the time, every year, say, I want to be an entrepreneur. And it's because they say, I want to be my own boss. They see all the glitzy stuff on social media. They think it's just Instagram and the glitz and glamour, but there is so much behind the scenes and planning that goes into any type of business, especially a restaurant. But even if you want to open a boutique, even we have some students, some alums of Velma Jackson, that are doing lashes and things like that, but they've put a lot of legwork, not only into marketing, but into the financials as well. So for these kids interested in being an entrepreneur, whether it's a restaurant or not, what are some of the things that they really have to think about before they ever open the doors?
If you want to be an entrepreneur, make sure that you're willing to work every day, all day, because I get off at 2, but my mind doesn't shut down until 12 a.m. Like I may leave this building because I have to leave, because today I got here at 7. So some days Thursday I might get here at 6:30. So I'm ready to go at 2, and my employees are still here. But when I leave here, I gotta make a grocery order. I have to run by the bank. I have to figure out, you know, my profit and loss. I had to have a conversation with my CPA. Like there's all these other things when I leave here. But the biggest thing I can tell anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur is not for the weak. It is so tough. I went to the hotel restaurant supply store the other day, and I made the statement to the people there. I said, I bet this is kind of like working at the hospital, where when you read the obituary and the people that come in here are in the paper. And they said yes, because it's stressful, because when you own your business and you're selling a product, most of the times the product depends on the market. And so you set a price, but then the market fluctuates, and now you got to raise your price, or you got to wait until to see if that price is going to go down. Now, the problem is if you raise your price, are you going to decrease volume? Is it better to do a bunch of volume, or is it better to raise prices and do less volume? So you get caught in that trick bag. Now this is where Mr. Owens comes in play. When you take Mr. Owens' economics class, like, do you want to more people through the door and profit less per person to create a better margin, or do you want to do less people? I think more people and being more popular, because you're going to have repeat customers. If you price yourself out, they're only coming once a week. If you kind of give them like, okay, it's not that bad, they're going to come more. So you have to know what you're selling. You have to know that people want what you're selling. So the difference for me doing hair and doing food is that I knew that the food was good. I had a lot of customers before I moved to the restaurant. Me doing hair, I was like, I think I can do it. You got to know that somebody else appreciates your work before you just go do it. You're going to struggle if you don't have a clientele going into a business. So you want to create a clientele, whatever your clientele is. I don't care if you're painting cars. You don't want to go to trade school, paint cars, and open up a business. You might not be the best, car painter. You may just have that skill, but you might not be a talent. And so being an entrepreneur, sometimes it requires you to have a talent versus a skill. A job requires you to have a skill. And so that's the biggest thing. You want to be able to sell whatever it is because everybody's selling it. Everybody's selling soul food. So what separates you from your competitor? And so you got to have that talent, and you got to have a passion for whatever it is. You got to go all in. You got to go all in, and it's got to be who you are as a person. So that would be my thing. A lot of entrepreneurs think it's all glitz and glam, but I had to get somebody to post on social media for me because I was too busy working, and I don't like social media. So it's not about that, because like you can see a lot of people on social media, they have all these followers, but followers don't make you money. They still got to get the people to the door.
Absolutely. And then, and a big thing too is that, you mentioned about you have to make yourself stand out. A big word I use in my entrepreneurship class is called perceived value. If people think they're getting their money's worth, they're going to keep spending their money. And an entrepreneur, the customer is more than the customer needs an entrepreneur. And then on top of that, sorry, I had a student have a question. On top of that, you have to look at, you can do small things to be able to charge a little bit more, even if it's 50 cents or $1. If you have 100 people a day, that's $100 a day.
Yes, and that's what I do. I have a 50-cent markup on certain side items. Like, okay, so you can get the fried chicken, but if you want the collard greens with the fried chicken, it's a 50-cent extra. If you want the white meat, it's $1 extra. If you want the dark meat, it's 50 cents extra. If you let me choose what you get, it's a flat fee, because that lets me put whatever on your plate. You don't have to work it, and I can just run you through the door. So, and another thing about my entrepreneurship, journey, my uncle, who owns the engineering firm, he is one of the best resources. I'm like, Uncle John, what you think about this? Because we go to church together. Uncle John, what you think about that? I wouldn't do that. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Uncle John, what you think about that? what you think about this? So I'm always asking him, bouncing ideas off of him. And he was one of my first customers. Like, he was like, I need you to do this. And I'm like, I've never done nothing for 100 people. He was like, you can do it. You can do it. So now I can do something for like 1,000 people because those skills that he believed in me to do. So I appreciate him a whole lot because when I was struggling, he was like feeding into me. The Deltas were feeding into me. All these people fed into me to get me where I am now.
That's awesome. Now, and I got some really good questions from the students, and I want to get to those. But before I do, you know, a big thing is you were in the Clarion Ledger twice to talk about the importance of small businesses outside of the capital city. So, why are small businesses so vital to a local economy? Because some of these kids may hear this stuff, say, well, if it's hard, I don't want to do it. But we need these kids, no matter who they are, no matter what they're going to business in, to open these small businesses for our community.
Because small businesses are the heartbeat of America. Okay, so you have corporations, but corporations get all the tax breaks. I mean, let's just be honest. They're going to get all the tax breaks because they want the corporations to manufacture in America. They want the corporations to stay. They want them to open up more. So they're going to give them all the tax breaks. They tax us to death. So everything I do is higher than any corporation, any chain. They're going to charge me. So US Foods, Cisco, they charge me more per case of chicken than they would charge anybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Popeyes.
Like Popeyes. Oh yeah, they gonna charge me because I'm not ordering as much and they gotta make so much off of me. But as far as the local economy goes, when you feed into your local economy, those tax dollars provide roads, street signs, they help provide, government agencies, police officers. So the more money that feeds into those tax dollars, because Canton, I pay 2% sales tax to the city of Canton. So 7% goes to the state sales tax, 2%. So and all you pay 9 goes to the city of Canton. It helps fund Canton. So you do not want to, if you live in Canton, you want your money to stay in Canton so that you can have better for Canton. Now I live in Madison, but I'm in Canton and I support Canton because I believe in Canton. Like I want to do more. I want to build another restaurant. Like I'm working on something here because I believe that this is good. So, you got to pay your taxes. Listen, that's the first thing. Sales tax. It's the first thing that'll send you down the drain. They gonna get their money. State of Mississippi gonna get their money before the Fed's gonna get it. They're gonna come into your account, and if you don't set that money aside every month, they're gonna wipe you out. So you have to make sure that that sales tax that you pay that before I pay my grocery bill, I'm gonna pay my sales tax because they'll just come and just take it. And thousands of dollars a month that I have to pay the state of Mississippi for their sales tax. And if you don't pay it, they're going to take it. There's nothing to debate.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's the part of entrepreneurship that's always overlooked. Well, I have some questions from the students. I'll get to as many of these as I can. These are really good. I'm glad they're thinking about this. This is Sanai Norman. She's in 10th grade, one of our cheerleaders here. And she asked, what strategies do you implement to control labor costs without endangering production or quality?
Okay. So labor costs. I cut the hours that we're open. That was the first thing. So they don't work no more than 30 hours a week. So then I have 5 employees. So we all do everything. Now it is like today I have one person out. She had a doctor's appointment, so we down. But what I do, I have family come in and try to help because we can remind you, we're only open 3 hours, 5 days a week. So the biggest thing I can say is I have great hours for people to work. They're here at 9 and they're gone by 3. So that's the biggest thing. And then I try to pay a little more than most places pay around here. So they don't mind coming to work because they get to sleep late and they're home before their kids get off the bus.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a mentality that let me get up and go ahead and go to work. I'm not there to. And so and then we don't try to work anybody to death. It's fast paced. It is fast paced, but everybody kind of does their job. And I work too. I work, like I mop the floor type work. I cook. And sometimes I get out of here after I cook if I'm exhausted, but I make all the plates, but I try to minimize what they do so I won't burn them out.
Yeah, I mean, and you've been going nonstop since we were in high school, so that's I'm glad to see it hadn't changed. This is Justice Conway. She's in ninth grade, one of our basketball players here, and she asked, what is the exactly? She's a hooper like you. She asked, what has been the motive, the inspiration behind your recipes?
Oh, Bob. So, okay, so I had a baby. First of all, I've always liked to cook, but my grandmama was a heck of a cook. Like my mama's mama. Now my daddy's mama, trash. But I mean, she was awful. Like she was like awful, but she could make a sweet potato pie. It was crazy. So my mama's mama, um, grandmama, grandmama could like throw down to me. Like, and let me say this: when you open a restaurant, everybody thinks that their family can cook. Like everybody thinks their family, and that is just not the case. You gotta go to somebody else's house and eat. You be like, I don't like this. But they do. And that's the crazy thing. So that's the first thing. That's how I knew my food was good because I was cooking for a bunch of people. They all said it was good. But my grandmama, she used to make dressing for people. That's how good her food was. And so she taught me how to cook over the phone. When I was in college, I lived in an apartment and I got food stamps. And so I used to just buy like little food or whatever. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna try to make some collard greens. So I call her and I said, Grandma, how you make collard greens? And she'll give me words like, oh, you cut them, don't put a whole bunch of water on them because you don't want to go blah, 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 blah. And I knew what she meant. Like, I don't want a rolling boil on my collard greens. Like, you know what I'm saying? So she is the motivation behind all these recipes, like my dressing, my greens. My mama fries their chicken. My mama fries the dopest fried chicken. Everything is really my grandmama's, but it's got a twist on it that's mine. It's got like a Cajun twist, and that's me. But some days I get emotional and I'd be like, man, my grandma be so proud of me because before she died, I made some dressing. And my grandma had diabetes. She was in a nursing home. And but they took out the nursing home. She came to see my house. I had bought a new house. And she really couldn't see well. And I said, Grandma, I made some dressing. She tasted it because she really didn't have an appetite. And she said, Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? I said, yeah, I did all that. She said, well, it's gonna be pretty good. She said, and it's pretty good. And so I kind of worked on it or whatever, but that was like right before she died. And so that was kind of like my confirmation, like, okay, like I got it right. And so I'm gonna move on from this question. But the one thing that nobody could get was her chicken and dumplings. Nobody could get her chicken and dumplings. So one day I was in a restaurant and I was like, I'm sometimes I champ on my grandmama when I'm feeling something, I'm cooking something, I'm cooking and the textures and stuff. And I'm remembering how she told me how it got to feel, how it's got to sound. And I'm like, she told me how to make them chicken and dumplings, but I messed it up. And so I was like, I'm gonna make these dumplings. So I looked the recipe up. And so I played with it. And then my mama tasted, my mama don't like dumplings, but she liked the juice. She was like, it tastes good. Todd Julius, Todd?
Yeah.
Todd came, he said it gotta be thicker. So I asked my customers a lot of stuff too. The customers have been a big influence on what I sell. They say, hey, do you sell neck bones? Do you sell chopped steak? The customers
There
have
you
made
go. Knowing your market. There you go.
they have made the menu. They have told me everything, pig feet, whatever I have, the customers have basically told me because I started out wanting to sell gumbo and jambalaya. Customers told me. So anyway, long story short, Todd told me how to make the dumplings to perfection. And I can make her dumplings. This is, that's how it went.
I just got time for two more. This is Azaya Ray. She's in ninth grade. I'm sorry, 10th grade. I got her grade wrong. She looked at me crazy. She said, you mentioned some of the hard parts about running a business. What are the benefits of running your own restaurant?
Baby, when I tell you I love being the Cooking Diva. Like, I love being the person in charge of something good. Like, I created this. Like, this is who I am. This is me. I did this with me, the help of my employees, the help of my mom. Like, this is what it's here. I make some money, but my kids are proud of me. My family's proud of me. You know, it's not about leaving work when I can, closing when I can, because you really can't close, because I don't work for myself. I work for the people. But it's here. It's all intrinsic motivation.
Well, I think that was a great answer for us to end on it. We're almost out of time, and we thank you so much. I know you're on a tight schedule, but you mentioned but before we go, just a few things. First of all, you mentioned Bill Owens, and I think we'd be remiss if we did not mention Bill Owens for the great work he did at Madison Central for so many years. And I'll tell you somebody else. You mentioned your grandmother. I know Coach Shay Jackson will be very proud of you right now as well. One of the greatest
Yeah.
coaches in Mississippi history,
Yeah.
who was there at Madison Central for years as well. But before we go, just a few things. First of all, tell us where to find you in Canton and what your website is.
Okay, so y'all can, I know y'all got y'all phones all day long, so you can look the Cooking Diva. You gotta put the Cooking Diva RNC.com. That's the website. The Instagram is the same. Cooking Diva, the Cooking Diva RNC. The Cooking Diva on Facebook. And yeah, I'm right here by the track in Canton. Come in on Peach Street, time you cross the track, make a right. It's the old White House. It's by the train track. It's on Depot Street. So Depot mean train. It's right here by the train track. So White House. Hopefully within the next year, I can get a little expansion going on. I'm in the process of doing something. I hope it works, that I can expand my hours and reach more people. Right now, it is what it is. I'm exhausted after 3 hours of this. So I wish y'all well. If y'all take Miss Davis, y'all, that's my line sister. We're Deltas. Tell y'all
You just got a great reaction on that one. She's a good one over here at Velma Jackson.
Yeah, that's my line sister. And so I wish y'all well, wish y'all best for the future. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, go do it. Like, try it. All you can do is fail. Pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and try it again, because that's what I've done many times.
Well, we thank you so much. I'm so proud to call you a high school classmate, April Calhoun, the Cooking Diva, right there in Canton. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.